Well, what other projects are underway, and how are they funded? And how is your county government innovating operations to deliver on improvements to your community today? Joining County Manager David McKee for our last panel discussion is Forsyth County School Superintendent Dr. Mitch Young, Fire Department Chief Barry Head, and Sheriff's Office Chief Deputy Joe Perkins. Mr. McKee, over to you.
Thank you, Russell. And John, I'm also glad that I'm not following Lynn from the hospital. So and if y'all have heard her speak, then everybody understands exactly why. So, gentlemen, thank you for joining me this afternoon. I'm going to go through a couple words that I jotted down here: community, partnership, commitment, relationships. I am very proud and honored to say that we have all of that with these gentlemen here. We're going to take a little bit deeper dive into some operations and a little bit of our kind of how our strategic planning goes, and talk a little bit of money about how much things cost. But I can't help but think when we think about a strong community, I can't help but think of what it takes, whether it's the fire department, the sheriff's department, the school system, the healthcare system, services that are provided by the city or county government, the businesses and the residents. If you pull one of those out, it doesn't work. And I think we're blessed to be able to have, and honored to be able to have that opportunity. But it comes with challenges. Russell just mentioned 70 capital projects. We have a 5-year capital improvement plan that we spend several months every year going through updating that capital improvement plan. Dr. Young, I'm sure you'll talk to us a little bit about kind of how y'all do that as well, but that's a $935 million 5-year capital improvement funded plan. $1 billion over the next 5 years that Forsyth County is going to invest into this community, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. Numbers real quick, and we're going to jump into some discussion, but numbers: 2 to 4 lane roads. So when we're widening a road, McGinnis Ferry, for example, Old Atlanta Road, when we're going from 2 lanes to 4 lanes, that's $12 to $14 million per mile. $12 to $14 million per mile. That doesn't include the maintenance. That doesn't include operating once we go from there. You saw Commissioner Moore talk about Bennett Park, Sharon Springs Park. We're just about to turn some dirt on Sharon Springs Park renovation. $50 million. $50 million to renovate that park. Was talking to Dr. Young yesterday, and I had this off almost double. But the most recent high school that was here was a $100 million investment, $90 million investment. If we build that high school today, it's what? $220 million. So you can understand kind of where these the challenges come from, and these gentlemen here, we're going to talk through kind of how we do that. So, Dr. Young. Heavy contributor to our CIP. We heard Commissioner Moore talk about SPLOST. Where does your eSPLOST line up with your capital improvement plan and your ability to deliver?
Yeah, timing-wise is great, and thanks, David, for having me up here today. And I want to thank everybody out there. We did just recently pass our eSPLOST in the last election, and I know we had lots of conversations. I'm seeing chamber board members out there. We went on an education tour of folks to understand why it's a great option for funding projects like this, and a lot of people in this room helped carry that torch for us, and greatly appreciate it. At the end of the day, we're able to pay for things. Where's Wes McCall? We're able to pay for things with cash and not debt. And as a growing school system with a lot of building needs, a lot of HVAC replacement, so on and so forth, the timing of it comes perfect. This SPLOST lined right up with, we just had to submit our 5-year capital improvement plan to the state ourselves. And so everything that was in that were the SPLOST projects that we shared with the community, and we're full steam ahead on that now.
In talking about the capital improvement plan, we had a discussion yesterday, and I'm going to ad-lib a little bit here, but the way you have changed in the last really couple years and how you strategically plan for those, we heard about the comp plan and how zonings affect that. I thought that was a pretty important piece. That
Yeah,
y'all are doing.
and it really overlaps the last discussion where they started to get into that. But when you look at building a new school, and we're famous for that over the last 20 years, to keep up with the growth, we're putting new schools everywhere you can. Strategically this time, for a variety of reasons, but as the last group shared, when you open a new school, that's a whole new set of bus routes. That's a whole new cafeteria staff. It's a whole new staff that you have to put together. So the ripple effects of building that, and then of course the traffic on those roads and so forth. So in this particular East Boston, this particular building plan, 5-year plan going forward, you're going to see a lot more additions put onto existing schools. As you talked about, to build a brand new high school, $220 million right now. For that same amount of money, actually less than that, we're able to put additions onto multiple middle schools and high schools, and we're not adding more bus routes and so forth. The challenge with that people will come at, and traditionally, is, are you making your schools too large? And the reality is, the number of students at a school isn't what makes it large, it's the culture. And as long as we continue to have great leadership and develop and hire the right school principals and assistant principals that value the things that we value as Forsythians, which are relationships first, you can make a large school feel small.
Dr. Young, thank you. Chief Perkins, we talked a little bit, and the sheriff and the chairmans took some of our thunder, but we talked a little bit about capital improvement program. Outside of buildings and facilities, when we talk about your capital improvement program, what does that mean to you as the sheriff's office?
Short answer is technology. Everything touches technology now. It's I've been in this business for over 30 years. When I started, my father was a police officer and a detective. When I got into being a detective over 25 years ago, the advice he gave me was there's only two things that solve crime. That's gasoline and shoe leather. You had to get out. You had to knock on doors. You had to go find the bad guys. You have to do that. As an old detective, that's the way I want things done. That's not the way it's done today. Our detectives now get on the computers, get into the technology, and they're able to find much more information than I ever did knocking on doors. We've all seen the Guthrie case going on out in Arizona, and it's I think y'all are getting a little peek behind that, some of this technology that they're using there. What technology are we looking at here? Drones as first responders. Several counties around us have gone to that. They're expensive. When we move to the new facility, we already have a real-time crime center, but we'll be enhancing that, making it a regional. Really, it'll be a crown jewel for the sheriff's office. Our real-time crime center will be as nice as anywhere else you would go and see. It's going to be a fantastic thing. But technology touches every crime now. It's not just the big kidnappings or murders, things. It touches every crime. The emphasis right now is with the cryptocurrency and those investigations that we're getting into. So really, technology is the short answer, but it touches everything now.
And it's important to keep up with that, because what's in technology today, tomorrow is obsolete.
Oh, absolutely. And it's changed, in my 30 plus years doing this, law enforcement has changed more in the last 5 years than it did in probably a century before.
Chief Ed, we're not going to let you off without giving us some input. I know that certainly when we talk about capital investments for your department, it not only affects lives, also affects our ISO rating, and we don't have time really to get into what that means. But when we talk about your capital improvement plan, and we're going to talk about your training facility in just a second, briefly, but what does that, from an apparatus standpoint, what does that mean?
Okay, so in the post-pandemic world, I think we can all agree that things have gone up in cost exponentially. Where I was buying fire trucks before COVID around $700,000, you're talking about $1 million for a regular fire truck now, upwards of $2 million for a ladder. So addressing that need is challenging. And we're fortunate enough that we can leverage SPLOST for some of that. We don't have, our budget covers our day-to-day expenses, right? And keeping personnel in the fire trucks, in the fire stations, keeping the trucks on the road, buying the equipment, providing the training. But there simply isn't enough funding for us in our annual budget to forecast out and fund those needs. So we utilize SPLOST for that, and it's great. And we've been successful with that historically, and hopefully that continues into the future. None of that would happen without the support of our elected officials and our county administration and the people in this room and the citizens that support us every day by approving SPLOST and ensuring we have the adequate funding.
And a big help with that particular funding stream is a third of it is paid for by residents.
Correct.
That live outside of Forsyth County.
That's correct.
Let's touch on your fire training facility, Chief. I know, Chief Head, I know that's going to be important to not only to the safety of the men and women in our fire department, but also to the residents and our ability to provide the top tier training.
Yeah, that's correct. So our service delivery doesn't happen by accident. It takes a tremendous amount of training and preparation to get our staff and our responders to the level where they can come out and provide the level of service that our communities become to expect. Our current facility was constructed in the early 90s by all volunteer workforce. We're a volunteer department back then. And in that 35 years since then, things have changed around here just a little bit. The way we work, the way we function, and the way we attack fires, the way we approach medical calls, all of that's changed. So it's outdated, and we've outgrown it. So we will be breaking ground later this year on a 34-acre site off of Martin Road, funded by SPLOST 8 and 9. And that is really going to put us at the forefront and ensure that we can provide highly skilled and highly trained people to respond to the emergencies for our community for the foreseeable future. This is going to allow us to grow with the community, something we haven't been able to keep up the pace with prior to now. And we're really looking forward to bringing that online, and it's going to pay back dividends in the service that we're able to provide.
Yeah, and we talked about partnerships. I mentioned partnership at the beginning of this, and gentlemen, let's shift gears and talk a little bit about innovation and some of the things that we talk about and we're able to do in government, maybe lag in private sector, and it is truly innovative when it comes to us. I'm reminded of the ability to deliver capital projects from a design, build, delivery method. Dr. Young, I think the school system's been doing that. When we were talking about it, you were like, well, why? That's nothing new, that's nothing innovative. In county and city governments, it is. We had a state law change 3 years ago that Forsyth County led the way on that allows us to deliver transportation projects, design, build. That allows us to move forward with those projects quicker and in different alternatives. Dr. Young, talking about partnerships and innovation, you said something the other day, and I want to just hit on it a second about the most recent event, and we've heard it mentioned 2 or 3 times here. We had 2 weekends and early 2 weeks there of some winter weather, and I think of the partnerships that we saw during those events was not seen across the state.
Yeah, and so it's one of those that I don't think is innovative. It's just how we do business here. But in other communities, as you go around the state, you find out that, as Brian said earlier, how blessed we are that we have the relationships we do. So I got a text group that has David, Mayor Brumlow, it's got Ron Freeman on there, and Lynn Jackson. And so when we get ready to make a call on a snow day, that's one of the first, after my Board of Ed, of course, they get the first call. But this is the group that I reach out to. And the reason for that is our 55,000 kids' parents quite often work in one of those areas. So as we're getting ready to call a day like that, obviously our safety staff and transportation staff is working closely with the county's safety and first responders and transportation. And when you see a call like that, there are multiple parties involved that make that smooth. Now, I don't have a meteorologist degree. The Chamber Board knows that I've claimed that title, in recent years. But we collectively share intelligence so that we can make the best call that we can. But we want to get those kids back in school. Because as good as our technology and online learning is, there's nothing like in-person instruction. So we do all that we can to get them back safely. And one of those issues we had during that first snow is a couple of our northeastern schools, our crews, our maintenance crews just couldn't get the parking lots where we needed them to be able to open. And David and his crew jumped in there and went up and salted and sanded and provided a little additional help to us. We were able to open the next day. So that's just one example that we take for granted, but I think is worthy of highlighting.
That's those come to work items, right, Mitch?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, in closing here, Chief Perkins, I'm gonna touch on it, and this gives us an opportunity maybe for a future podcast. But the time task force, that is certainly something that's going to be innovative. In Chief Head, we've got something new and innovative coming to Lake Lanier.
Yeah,
certainly not innovative as you look across the nation, but to Lake Lanier it is.
It is. This is something that we've had a need for a long time. Haven't been able to fully fund it until now. And it's a new fireboat, a rescue boat. It does more than fight fire. And it's going to drastically reduce our response times and improve our service delivery and our capabilities on Lake Lanier.